Hello everyone, welcome back to my studio. It's been a while since I uploaded a video, and it's because it's been such a hot summer and I've been busy trying to get things done outside, and my office here is actually quite warm. So, but I thought today, since it was too hot to do anything outside, I would do another video for you. So today I'm going to do a little something different. I haven't done much mixed media yet in the videos for you guys, so I thought I'd do a mixed media project today. And what I like to do with my mixed media is I have an art journal where I just record my thoughts through pictures. So I'll explain some of that to you as I go, and kind of describe how I come up with the ideas for what I'm going to do. So let's go on down to my table and have a look. So first thing I'm going to show you quickly here is just I'm getting some pieces ready for the mixed media project. So I've been cutting out little circles here for what I want to do, and basically I'll share a tiny tip with you on how I make these pages, but I've got a whole stack of them here, and it's basically leftover paint from when I'm cleaning my brushes and that kind of thing, and my palette knife. So I thought I'd just do a quick little show you here how I make the circles. So I'm going to just I'm looking for some nice bright colors for this particular part of the project. Well, let's just take some, I'll just take one off of this page here where I was cutting before. So what I have for doing this, I have just a cutting mat here, and then I have this little Fisker's circle making tool, which is quite fun to use, and I'll try and find a link and post it in the comments. I've had this for quite a while, so hopefully I can find a link. But basically it's got a little cutter here, and you can change the size of your circle by loosening this off, and then that slides the cutter in and out. So if I want to make just about an average size circle, I'll put it there and tighten it up. Then what you do is you pick the spot on your paper that you want to use. So since I want kind of bright colors, I'm just going to make one right over here. And I push down on the top, and then I turn the circle making part. And you got to use a bit of pressure in order, and I usually go around a few times just to make sure it cuts the whole thing. And then that cuts out a little circle. And I can make them really small if I want. Here, I'll make a real small one. I'll make a small yellow one over here. And that just cuts out little circles like that. So that's kind of just a fun little way to make the circles that I'm doing. So I've got quite a few of those made here already. The other things that I have ready for this project, I cut out a whole bunch of darker colored pieces, both from the paint pages and just some other pieces here. So I've got all of these that I pre-cut. I just randomly cut them. So I got that stack ready, and then I have some extra pages if I need more than that. And I cut out some cute little purple balloons, and there may be some of you who know where I'm going with this, with the purple balloons and everything. You will know in a second where I'm actually going with this, because I will show you what else I cut out. So let's see here. First of all, I'm going to show you, this is my art journal. So I do all kinds of mixed media art in here. So I started this way back when I first got into doing art again, and so I had started out with just, writing things and using a little bit of paint and that kind of thing. And then I decided to actually get into mixed media. So I have everything in here from, this is one of my favorite recipes that my mom makes of brown sugar muffins, and so I made a page of that. This was just an April showers bring May flowers page that I did. That was just me messing around with some stuff. There's me just making some notes. That was me attempting to capture feelings. Yeah, so I've got all kinds of things in here. This page my bunny ate. Here's somewhere I was using photographs. That was just me practicing some things. So yeah, it's just a wide variety of things in here. This was a page when I was feeling really down last year and overwhelmed, and so this is what I do with this journal, is I use it to, sometimes it's bright and fun, little things in life that counts. I was feeling good that day, wanted to make some flowers. Some days it's like this, because this is me getting out my feelings of being overwhelmed and all the stuff that was going on in the world at the time. I've got words written behind here with all the craziness that was going on in the world and how I was feeling about it. So I made a page like that, and it just helped me get out of it. This here was lyrics. We are lost in the storm from the moment we're born. This was Alter Bridge lyrics. They're one of my favorite bands, and you'll notice that I do a fair bit of stuff with lyrics from my favorite bands and things. This was one I did for a course I was taking, a horse course that I was taking, and it had to do with our horse Rocky and the puzzle pieces that put him together and me trying to figure them out. And then this was like just a celebration of my new kitten Oscar, you know, and this was the little bow that he was wearing the day that my sister gave him to me. So, you know, it's all kinds of things like that is what goes into this journal. So I have my empty page here, and quite often what I will try and do is I will grab, I have these little binder clips, and I'll try and, now that I'm further into the book, I'll try and just hold that open that way. So what my plan for today was, one of my absolute favorite new songs is Permission to Dance. It's a song put out by the band BTS, and they are one of my all-time favorite bands. And so I wanted to kind of try and capture how I've been feeling lately. So I'll kind of describe to you what my plan is as I go, but that's what this page is going to be. It's going to be about how I've been feeling lately. So I did a printout. Now these are done on cardstock. When I print stuff out to cut and put in my journal, I do it on cardstock because it's a little bit thicker, which helps when I'm pasting it down. So this is J-Hope. He's my favorite guy from BTS, and so I printed out this picture of him from the Permission to Dance video, and cut out around it. And then I've got the Permission to Dance, and I'm going to use the We Don't Need Permission to Dance words for it. So I've got that. I've got my purple balloons. I've got my different colored pieces. There's going to be a few other things that I'm planning on doing. So I will just go ahead and get into it and explain to you what I'm doing as I go. Okay, so on this 2-page spread of my journal, I am going to, basically what I want to capture is how I've been feeling lately. And so this side of the page is going to be kind of how I was feeling this last year and a half. So kind of a lot of dark colors and that sort of thing. Because I did go through quite a bit of depression and anxiety this year. And that's what this journal helps me capture. So that's why I have all these little dark pieces cut out. So what I like to do is I use Mod Podge for this. It's just your average stuff that you get at the craft store. So this is just an old card from Boston Pizza Kids Meals or something like that, and I use that because it works really nicely. And the other thing I like to do is I'll take, sorry about my arm reach there, I'll take a piece of scrap paper and I'll just have that sitting beside things for when I do the Mod Podge. So take my Mod Podge and open her up. Okay, so I like to pour a little bit of that into the cap because then it's easier to use. And I'll take my little pieces here, and so like I say, these little dark pieces are kind of describing how I was feeling this last year. So I take my card and I just spread stuff on the back, and then I'll come in here and I'll just paste it on there. And then quite often I'll just kind of go over the top of it too with the whole thing. And now one of the things that I'm doing with this particular part is you'll notice that these pieces here are all sharp and jagged. And that again has to do with how I was feeling this year. So when I was feeling down, I really felt like everything in my life was just kind of sharp and edgy and not happy and whatever. So I just want to take some of the white off of this piece here. So that's why I kind of wanted to put make these pieces more just sharp and angular, and you know, a little bit more angry, I guess you could put it. I was angry with all the stuff that was going on in the world and how I had no control over it. And that's one thing that I use art a lot for my mental health. I have never hidden the fact that I have struggled with anxiety and depression for years, and I'm on medication for it, and I highly recommend people see their doctor if they're struggling as well. But I do find that art is a real good outlet for me. Anything creative is, because I tend to bottle it all up inside, and then it comes out as anger and anxiety, that sort of thing. So but it makes my edges sharp, which is basically why I'm using the sharp edges. And I know a lot of people struggle with the same thing. So like I say, art can be a really good outlet for that, but I also highly recommend that you talk to your doctor. One of the other reasons why I chose to use some blue in this actually has to do with another BTS song that I like. It was off of their B album. It's called Blue and Gray, and it's one that has to do with depression as well. I highly recommend you check that one out. I'll put a link to it up in the description box. I added a little bit of brown stuff in here, just for variety. And I don't really have a plan with this, other than that I want to fill this whole page, kind of, well, most of it. I'm going to leave a little bit of space over here, but fill a lot of this part of the page with this dark colors and everything. Because like I say, this page is kind of the past and how I had been feeling, and then we're going to move over into how this song, the Permission to Dance song, and well, BTS music in general actually, makes me feel and helps me to get through these times when I'm feeling depressed and anxious. And that's something, if you can find an artist or a musician that where their music really touches you like that, definitely that's a good thing. I found these guys this past year thanks to my sisters, who found them and liked them and knew that I would eventually come to really like them too, even though I was stubborn because I'm usually into rock. And I thought it was just going to be all pop, and here it turned out to be way, way more than that. So I'm going to fast forward through some of this, and it's just going to be me putting these pieces on. So one thing that you'll notice I do then is I kind of go over a lot of it with the Mod Podge, because that's going to dry clear anyway, and just make sure it's held down there good. And then I also make sure that there's no edges lifting up like this one here. I'll kind of try and tack that edge down. A lot of that won't matter as much because I'm going to be putting stuff over top of that as well too. So the other thing that I like about doing this method, where I cut out pieces of paper, and some of these are thicker cardstock and some of them are this painted scrap paper, is it gives a lot of texture to the page. And I'm big onto looking at textures and things. I think that is a really nice way of doing it. So we're going to just set that aside. And my next step is going to be that I'm going to use my hair dryer to dry this. I'm not going to bother recording that, but I'm going to use my hair dryer to dry this, and then we'll move on to the next step of the project. So I'm back. So what I did is I dried this page, and then I actually went ahead and did one other step, It's something that's a little bit more personal to me, so I didn't do it on camera. But one thing I wanted to do was I wanted to, on this page, just show some of the things that had been bothering me this year. So to do that, I actually used my dip pen, it's a Tachikawa pen, and I've got some nibs for it. I'll put a link to those in the description. And I just used some Winsor & Newton white ink to do that, so that it would kind of show up. But some of that's going to get covered anyway with this next step. So for the next step, what I actually wanted to do, and now this is a part that can get a little bit messy on you. So I have paper towel here. I like splatters, and I like ink. Now I'm going to try and hide my bow here so it doesn't get messed up. So I have some Dr. Martens. These are Dr. Martens black or Bombay inks. This is the black one, which is the one I wanted to use for this particular part. So what I'm actually going to do, they're liquid inks. I'm going to take a dropper of it, and I'm going to put some along the top here. And then I'm going to see if I can get it to just kind of run down the page. I might have to do it a couple of times here. And yes, I know this page is really dark right now, but don't worry, things will get brighter. So yeah, that's kind of what I was going for, was that look there. So now I need to really quickly dry that. So that kind of goes for what I wanted for the dark side of the page. So now, put the ink away. Okay, so basically what happened in my life is this is how I was feeling in 2020 and into the beginning of 2022. Then my sisters introduced me to the band BTS and to some of their songs, in particular one called Life Goes On, which I will also link to here. And it really, really helped me. I finally started, well, that one really encouraged me, and then they got me listening to a lot of their other stuff and watching their variety show and everything, and I laughed for the first time in pretty much a year, and it's been really good since then. So what I wanted to show on this page was, it's gonna be kind of the link between the two. So I have my colorful circles here. And what I wanted to kind of show on this page was the color that all of that brought into my life. So I'm going to again take my let's just fold this sheet over. Okay, so we're going to be using the Mod Podge again, which I end up getting all over my fingers and everything, but that's half the fun of creating, isn't it? So we're going to start putting my circles, my colorful circles, onto this page. This is kind of showing some of the joy that came into my life. Now when I'm trying to put them in between the pages like that, I usually try and squish it on to one page first and squish it down into the crack and then get it back up onto this page. And use just, the more Mod Podge you use, the more it sticks in there properly. And I wanted to use different colors of circles, different sizes, variety. Oh, and I will add, because I want to fit them in here in various places. So I've got my purple balloons. Now, any of you who have watched the Permission to Dance video will know that the purple balloons are just a major symbol in the video. Purple is our color with BTS. the balloons are meant to signify, you know, the hope for the future and the joy and you know, the ending of the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So I want to fit these little balloons in there. Now what I did actually is I cut these out of foam. So this is just little pieces of flat sheets of foam that I get from like the dollar store, that sort of place. It's just in the craft aisle. A lot of times it's in the kids craft aisle or the scrapbooking aisle, and I collect that kind of thing and just use it. I wanted that because it gives a little bit of extra texture, and like I said, I'm kind of big into the textures and stuff, so I just wanted to put my purple balloons on here as I go as well. Just tuck this under the top of that one. If you move fairly fast, they don't get, you can adjust them a little bit too as you go. And I'm going to go right across onto that other page with these. So I'm just going to keep putting these on and fast forward through this part, so you can just watch me put them on, and then we'll come back and I'll talk to you about my next step. One thing that I've discovered is I need a few more pieces. So you'll get to watch me cut some more. Mod Podge over everything. That's one thing when you're using Mod Podge, you will find it gets everywhere. Let's see. I'm noticing as I'm going through this that I paint with a lot of dark colors. Well, probably because I paint a lot of flowers and things. That's why they end up quite dark. So I could use a little bit of that. Some light stuff there. So I want to make smaller circles. They don't have to be tiny. I'm going to just expand it a little bit. Alright, so now I'm going to just dry this off again and I'll come back. So for the next part, one of the things that I like to do as well on these type of pages is I love splatters of color. So what I'm going to do, I've picked 3 colors here. Now when I'm doing my mixed media journals, I tend to use the cheap paints because I want to be able to just splash color wherever I want, put on as much as I want, that kind of thing, without worrying about using my expensive paints. So I just buy, for that, I just buy these cheap ones from Walmart, the Folk Art, or these are like from Dollar Store. They're a Crafters acrylic. They're not high quality. They're never going to be. But they're perfect for just messing around in a journal because I don't worry about my colors and stuff. So I'm just going to put a little bit in here. And then, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to show, so basically what we've got here is how I was feeling in 2020 and into the beginning of 2021. And this is, so this is all sharp angled edges, dark colors, you know, all that stuff that was going on. This page is showing how I feel when I'm listening to this song. And that's, I get a lot more joy. I use circles so that it's rounded edges, because I find, just my own personal self, I find rounded edges to be more happy, colorful, that sort of thing. But I wanted to splash a little bit of this onto this side just because, and then I'm going to splash a little on this side as well, just because it's kind of a showing how what I'm hoping is that this is going to eventually take over this. And that's kind of what I'm trying to portray in this art page. And I know I get really deep when I'm working on my art journal, because I do this part for therapy. Other people, they just do art journals because they're pretty or fun or whatever, but I do it for my own personal therapy, which is why you're getting this deep stuff from me. So I'm going to take some water and mix that in with it to make it really moist. Now, if you're going to do this, don't have anything really high quality around you, because inevitably I get paint everywhere. I'm just tapping on the brush like this to get a little bit of the color to come flying off. And then I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of yellow. And the nice thing about using these cheapo paints like this is I don't worry about how much I'm putting on here, because it cost me like $1. Missed the page with that one. Paper towel is your friend when you're doing this. And in classic Rhonda fashion, I am using a top from a paint jar as my palette for this, because it's my cheapo stuff. I just find that the addition of these like little paint splatters like this just adds so much to the page. I don't know, I like it. There, so that's that part. So now we're going to dry that off. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do then is we are going to bridge the gap between the two pages. And we are going to do that using my picture of J-Hope, which is basically because he brings me joy and makes me feel happy. So I think I'm going to put, and basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of using a member of the BTS guys to just show that they were the ones that bridged my gap from here to here. I think I'm going to kind of put him halfway in between like that, because I want to save room for some words on this side. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so we need the good old Mod Podge again. As you can see, there's still a little bit of wet paint, but it's okay. It'll all dry in the end anyway. And cat hair, of course, and bunny hair. Can't get away from that in this place. Now again, I'm going to have to kind of push it into that crack of the book there, so that when you open up the book you can see the whole picture. If you haven't ever checked out BTS's music, I highly, highly recommend it. They're very, very good. They're a Korean band, and a lot of their older music, well, and even a lot of their newer stuff, a lot of their music is in Korean, but there's lots of lyric translations on the internet that you can use, and their lyrics are really good. They write most of their own music, and they just have a few songs that are written by other people, but for the most part it's all their own music and lyrics, and they're really deep, and yeah, I highly recommend them. And J-Hope is my favorite. That's why I'm using his picture. It's kind of interesting because his voice actually lowers my anxiety when I'm having an anxiety attack. So I have some videos of him saved on my phone that I can listen to if I'm having trouble. It actually works out really well. Okay, so there's my little J-Hope on there. And now I'm going to take these, because I wanted to write across here, we don't need permission to dance. So I'm going to cut these out. You'll see that this is an extremely colorful spread. I love color, so I do a lot of really colorful things. Yeah, like that. Sometimes I lay it out on the page before I put stuff together. Sometimes I don't. It all depends on the mood that I'm in and what I'm going for. If I'm going for something really precise, I'll lay it out first and then I'll use the Mod Podge. If I'm just going for something fun, like this page here, I'll just throw it on wherever I want. And that's part of the fun of doing mixed media art and art journaling in particular. Is you just have fun with it. You use color, you put stuff in the journal that you're not necessarily going to show everybody. You know, it's not yeah, nobody can tell you how it's supposed to be, because that's up to you. Alright, so I thought I'd just show you the last little bit I did and just kind of zoom in a little bit, so you can kind of just see closer up what I did. One of the things I did, you'll notice I put a bit of a white outline around around J-Hope, so he stood out a little bit more, and I put the names of all the guys on the balloons. So that's kind of the extra things that I added to it, but now you can kind of see closer up everything I did, and that's how the page turned out. Hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more videos. Normally I try and put out one a week, other than right now in the heat of summer I haven't been. So but like and subscribe, and put your notifications on, and you'll get notified anytime I upload something new.